Ancient Tomahawk. This is the only unique throwing weapon in the game, which sounds cool until you realize Rockstar made it a one-night stand. You throw it once, and poof, it ghosts you. Unless you go pick it back up, it's gone forever. You can't reload the save, you can't go back to the target. The Tomahawk has commitment issues, so if you want to flex this thing, you better be ready to play fetch, like an overexcited golden retriever. Now, it's basically a glorified caveman fidget spinner. And of course, it isn't just lying around in a shop, or dropped by some unlucky NPC. You've got to hike out to Calumet Valley in the Grizzlies, right near the Wapiti Indian Reservation. If you poke around east of the Wapiti, you'll spot it jammed into a busted wooden target, like somebody rage quit an axe-throwing contest 100 years ago. Stats? Chef's kiss garbage. Damage is 2.4 out of 4, range is 1 out of 4, and accuracy is don't even ask. Basically, it's like tossing a sharpened paperweight. But again, style points matter too. The thing here isn't about stats, it's about style. You're lobbing a centuries-old piece of history straight into someone's forehead. If that doesn't feel badass, I don't know what does.
Antler Knife. This bad boy is the Antler Knife. Yes, the handle is literally carved out of a stag's antler, which means you are holding a deer's skull extension while you stab someone. To find it, you've got to head northwest of Hanging Dog Ranch. That's where you'll find the aftermath of a nature documentary gone wrong, a grizzly bear versus a hunter. When you stumble across the scene, you'll see the poor hunter's knife, still jammed in the bear carcass. That's your antler knife, baby. Half trophy, half what the hell happened here. Now, regarding stats, damage, a very average 2 out of 4. Range, a depressing 0.3 out of 4. So basically, if you try to fight with this thing, you're not exactly Rambo. You're more like a guy who brought a toothpick to a gunfight. But again, it's not about power. It's about the look. And nothing feels better than shanking someone with a deer's head furniture.
Broken Pirate Sword. There's a pirate cutlass in this game, a rare sword, that looks like it's been through one too many rum-fueled bar fights. And apart from its name, the Broken Pirate Sword, the blade is snapped in half, which technically makes it worse, but somehow also makes it cooler. To grab it, you'll need to channel your inner Jack Sparrow. Head to the tiny islands just south of the Saint Denis Southern Bridge. Look for a wrecked, abandoned boat. Inside that sad little shipwreck, you'll find your new toy, a long blade, a pirate's relic, and an instant way to feel like you spawned in the wrong Rockstar game. Stats time. Damage clocks in at 2.2 out of 4. Range hits 0.4 out of 4. Basically, it's about as practical as bringing a spoon to a duel. But when you whip this thing out in the bayou, facing down a gator, you don't look like a cowboy anymore. You look like a drunk pirate who lost his ship and decided to move west. So, yeah, same stats as the machete, but infinitely cooler to pull out when someone least expects it.
Calloway's Revolver. This flashy hand cannon is Calloway's Revolver. It's silver, it's engraved, and it screams, "Please admire me before I shoot you." The catch? You can only get it during the mission, The Noblest of Men and a Woman. At the very end, after the duel, it'll be sitting right there next to the poor sap who lost. And you've got one shot at grabbing it. Miss the chance? That's it. Gone forever. Like your high school crush who moved away and never looked back. Now, performance-wise, damage sits at 1.8 out of 4. Range, 2.0. You can hit someone, but only if they're politely standing still. Fire rate, 2.8. Pretty quick. Not spaghetti western gunslinger quick, more like a guy trying to reload Nerf guns at a kid's party quick. Reload speed, 2.6. You'll get there eventually, might even grow a beard while you wait. Accuracy, 3.0. Ammo capacity, 6 shots. So yeah, the stats are fine, but again, it's not gonna one-shot a bear or anything, which means you can just carry it for the flex only.
Civil War Knife.
An ancient Bowie knife, caked in rust, with a massive D-shaped handguard. It looks less like a weapon and more like something you'd find at a yard sale labeled antique garden tool. And interestingly, soldiers once swung these kinds of things around like it was the lightsaber in the 1800s. To get it, head southwest of Van Horn Trading Post. There's an abandoned wreck called Fort Brennand. Creep down into the basement and you'll find the knife sitting on a crate. And right beside it, a Civil War hat, so you can complete the look. Perfect if you've ever wanted to cosplay as Rusty General number 47. Now, onto stats. Damage is 2.0 out of 4. Enough to stab a guy,
but not enough to make him regret all his life choices. Range, 0.4 out of 4. So basically, if you're not already nose-to-nose with your target, this knife isn't helping. It functions just like the regular hunting knife, except this one looks like it should come with tetanus.
Double Bit Hatchet. A bit of double trouble for the O'Driscolls. The double bit hatchet is exactly what it sounds like. A hatchet with 2 blades. I think maybe someone in the 1800s thinks, you know what, let's make woodcutting twice as dangerous. Originally designed for chopping and splitting logs, it also works great for splitting up bandits, or really anyone who gives you side-eye at the wrong saloon. Finding it is also simple. Head northwest of Wallace Station, just west of the Dakota River in Big Valley. There, you'll see a lonely tree stump, and buried in it, like some redneck version of Excalibur, is your brand new double bit hatchet. Stats. Damage, 2.4 out of 4, so it'll definitely ruin someone's day, just not their entire bloodline. Range, 1.0 out of 4. Basically, you have to be close enough to smell what your target had for lunch. Accuracy, 1.0 out of 4, so don't expect sniper precision. You're more likely to hit the ground, the tree, or yourself than your actual target. Flaco's Revolver. A unique cattleman with ivory grips and fancy little engravings that scream, "I'm stylish, but I'll still shoot you in the face." You can't buy this thing. You have to track down Flaco Hernandez and his Del Lobos crew during The Noblest of Man and a Woman. Take him out in a duel, and there it is, lying next to his body. But you need to pick it up immediately. If you wander off and forget, it vanishes faster than Flaco's respect for personal space. Damage-wise, it's 1.7 out of 4. Basically, it'll wound someone, but don't expect them to stay down. Range, 2.0 out of 4. Good enough if the target is, say, across the bar. Fire rate, 3.0 out of 4. Pretty snappy. You'll feel like a wannabe gunslinger who's had too much coffee. Reload, 2.8. Not bad, not great. The revolver equivalent of waiting in line at a mildly busy diner. Accuracy, 2.8. It'll hit most of the time, unless you're trying to show off. Granger's Revolver. A cattleman revolver. For goths and edgelords. It's the moody teenager of handguns. Dark metal finish, vine engravings, and even a pig's head carved into the ivory grip. To get it, you'll have to duel the man himself, Emmett Granger. You'll find him near Flatneck Station, during The Noblest of Man and a Woman. Take him down, and his revolver is right there on the ground. Now, stats time. Damage, 1.7 out of 4. This gun isn't killing legends. It's killing confidence. Range, 2.0 out of 4. Good for duels, not so good if your enemy's more than a sneeze away. Accuracy, 2.8. You'll hit, eventually. So overall, it's not the strongest gun, but it is dark, broody, and covered in pigs. Basically, the Hot Topic revolver. Hewing Hatchet. The Hewing Hatchet is basically the handyman of murder tools. It's got a flat edge along one side, because it was originally designed for turning logs into lumber. So yes, technically it's a construction tool, but in Red Dead 2, it's also perfectly capable of remodeling someone's skull. You can snag this beauty at Moonstone Pond. Head to the southern edge, right next to the flattened cabin. There, stuck in a stump, is your very own Frontier Home Depot special. Pull it out, and congratulations. You're now armed with a weapon that if you throw it, pray it goes in the right direction. Hunter Hatchet. You ever wanted a tool that works for skinning deer and robbing some poor farmer's pantry? That's the Hunter Hatchet, a bearded axe design that gives you more control when shaving or planing. So yes, it doubles as both a woodworking tool and an oops, sorry about your face weapon. Now, where to find it? Head out to the Grizzlies, directly south of Window Rock. Cross the river west of Fort Wallace and look for a lonely tree stump. There you can find this rugged little beauty. So how does it perform? Damage sits at 2.4 out of 4. Enough to drop a deer clean, or seriously ruin a homestead owner's week. Range and accuracy are both locked at 1.0, which is, if you can spit on your target, you can probably hit them. Jawbone Knife. I have no clue what was going through Rockstar's mind when they decided to make a rare weapon out of a coyote jaw. Seriously, it's not steel, it's not leather wrapped, it's literally a hunk of flint strapped to the mouth of a dead dog cousin. This is some kid's science fair project that somehow made it into a 3+A game, and yet, it kinda slaps. So, how do you get this ridiculous trophy?
You spend your free time digging up the dinosaur bones for Deborah McGinnis, a paleontologist who might be just as unhinged as the weapon reward. Do her side quest, and she thanks you with a knife made out of roadkill. That's rockstar logic right there. Damage sits at 2.0 out of 4, which means you'll stab just fine. You just won't impress anyone. Range is 0.4. Translation, if you're not practically hugging your target, you're just waving a coyote jaw around for decoration.
Midnight's Pistol. A Mauser pistol with a gold-plated finish, a long barrel, and custom engravings so shiny you could use it as a makeup mirror. It's rare, it's flashy, and it practically whispers, "Please duel me in slow motion." How do you get it? By tracking down Billy Midnight in the mission The Noblest of Man and a Woman. Beat him in a duel, and his fancy toy is lying right there next to his body. Range? Enough to pop someone across a bar, not across the street. Fire rate? 3.2. That's where it shines. It spits lead like a Gatling gun on espresso. Reload? 3.0. Quick enough that you won't grow old in the process. Accuracy? 2.8. Solid, unless you're trying to show off. Ammo capacity? 10, which means you can miss more before you have to panic. Ornate Dagger. So dramatic, it'll make anyone yell, "Sookie!" Forget treasure hunts and duels, this one starts with a vampire. Yes, a full-blown bloodsucker living in Saint-Denis. To even unlock it, you've to solve the creepy riddle of the mysterious writings scrawled across the city walls. Track them all down, piece the puzzle together, and eventually, you'll stumble upon the vampire himself. Stake through the heart? Nope. In true Red Dead fashion, you just shoot him in the face. And once the creature of the night drops, you loot his body and claim your prize, the Ornate Dagger. So what makes it unique? This thing is all flashy engravings and sinister vibes. It's the kind of blade that feels cursed the second you equip it, like you're about to either stab someone or summon a demon. Rare Rolling Block Rifle. A prized parting gift, straight from Braithwaite Manor. This rifle hits like a runaway train with 3.4 out of 4 damage, and range is also great. Basically, if you can see it, you can kill it. Squirrels, snakes, some poor outlaw scratching his head 3 counties over, they're all fair game. But don't get too excited. Reload speed is very painful, meaning it'll kill whatever you're aiming at. But if you miss, you'll have time to make coffee before you can shoot again. Now, how do you get it? During Chapter 3, in the mission Magicians for Sport, you'll find yourself dealing with bounty hunters near Braithwaite Manor. At the end, one sniper's got this beast tucked away in the barn. Drop him and loot the rifle.
Rare Shotgun. The one double barrel to rule them all. Forget quests, puzzles, or vampire hunts. This one's simple. There's a cranky old hermit living north of Ansburg in Roanoke Ridge, and the man hates visitors. The second he spots you, he'll try to turn you into front porch mulch. Your job? Return the favor and grab his rare shotgun off the floor. But you only get one chance. If you walk away without picking it up, that's it. No do-overs. Now, let's talk about what makes this beast so nasty. Damage-wise, this thing doesn't kill people. It deletes them. Now, unless your enemy is close enough to smell your chewing tobacco, you're basically shooting into the wind. And yes, you can squeeze off both barrels quick enough to make someone rethink their life choices.
Rusted Double Bit Hatchet. This double bit hatchet is basically the sad, weathered cousin of the shiny double bit you can snag near Wallace Station. Same design, same double-bladed look, except this one looks like it's been left outside since the Civil War. Where do you find it? Head up to Ansburg, right by the coal mine. Look for a lonely tree stump, and there it is, waiting like some forgotten miner's lunchbox. Now, stats. It'll split firewood or skulls without discrimination, but don't expect to clear a crowd. This is strictly up close and personal. It's only special because it's ugly, rare, and makes every swing feel like an OSHA violation. Rusted Hunter Hatchet. This is the hatchet. Looks like it's been left outside since the day Arthur learned how to ride a horse. But yeah, rarity doesn't always mean pretty. Sometimes it just means, congrats, you found the weapon equivalent of an old soup can. So, where do you pick up this stylish tetanus delivery system? Head out to Martha's Swain, that lonely patch of nowhere tucked between Elysian Pool and O'Craig's Run. There, sitting in a tree stump by a shack, you'll find this rusty bad boy waiting. No duel, just walk up and claim it before someone mistakes it for scrap metal. Stats-wise, it's about what you'd expect from a hatchet that's halfway back to being dirt.
Damage still plenty to ruin a guy's day. Accuracy-wise, throw it if you dare, but don't expect it to fly straight. Overall, this thing isn't about looking cool. It's about proving you're tough enough to win fights. With garbage.
Viking Hatchet. A miniature axe that puts Kratos to shame. This weapon is ripped straight out of Norse mythology, dropped into the middle of the Wild West. It's got that ancient, brutal design that makes you feel like you should be storming a monastery, not robbing a train. And just to crank up the weird factor, you don't find it in a normal spot. It's lodged in a human skull, at an old grave. The exact location? Northeast of Beaver Hollow, tucked inside a tomb where you'll also stumble across the Viking helmet. And sadly, the helmet doesn't actually fit Arthur's head, which is Rockstar's polite way of saying, "Nice try, cosplay nerd. And let me warn you, throw it if you want, but don't blame me if it bounces off a tree and embarrasses you." Wide blade knife. For the Arthur Morgans who like it wide, this is basically a hunting knife that hit the gym. It's unique not because it's fancy or engraved, but because you have to Indiana Jones your way into getting it. Head west of Mount Shan into the Big Valley region. There, you'll find Barrel's Dream Mine, but the entrance is sealed off with rocks. So what do? Dynamite, obviously. Blow the entrance wide open, march inside, and somewhere in the heart of that abandoned mine, you'll stumble across a corpse. And sticking out of its back like a very unorthodox chiropractic tool is your new wide blade knife.